कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादां सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रुतवैताश्चादये भीष्मम् अच्युता प्रियोचेष्टिताम् भावेद्भक्तिर्भगवती यया स्या क्लेशसंक्षय। श्रुत्वा तै च श्राद्धभीक्षिणम् अच्युता प्रियचेष्टिताम् भवेद्भक्तिर्भगवती याया स्या क्लेशसंक्षय। श्रुत्वैतात् श्रद्धया भीक्ष्णाम् अच्युता प्रियचेष्टिताम् भवेद्भक्तिर्भगवती यस्य स्यात् क्लेशसंक्षय। Shrutva by hearing, etal this, Shraddhya with faith, Abhikshnam repeatedly, Achyuta the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Priya dear, Cheshtitam activities, Bhave develops, Bhakti devotion, Bhagavati on to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yaya by which, Syat must be, Klesha of miseries, Sankshaya complete diminution. Would someone like to repeat the verse? Trans. Go on, go on. Translation: anyone who hears a narration through Maharaj and who repeatedly tries with faith and devotion to understand his pure character attains the pure devotional platform and executes pure devotional service. By such activities, one can diminish the threefold miserable conditions of material life. Here, the word Achyuta Priya is very significant. Dhruv Maharaj's character and reputation are great because he is very dear to Achyuta, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Lord are pleasing to hear, hearing about his devotees who are very dear to the Supreme Lord is also pleasing and potent. If anyone simply reads over and over again Dhruv Maharaj's pastimes, by hearing and reading this chapter, one can attain the highest perfection of life in any way he desires. Most importantly, to get the chance to become a great devotee. To become a great devotee means to finish all miserable conditions of materialistic life. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भक्ति नैष्टिकी. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. So today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, fourth canto, 12th chapter, and we're in the concluding pastimes we're concluding the pastimes of Dhruv Maharaj, and very soon we'll be starting the pastimes of Maharaj Vrena. So in this purport and the purport before this and the purport following this, what's to the best of my knowledge, what's being highlighted is the importance of reading, discussing Harikatha, and focusing and enriching our minds through topics of spiritual life and topics which bring us closer to Krishna. And Srimad Bhagavatam is it's the treasure of every devotee's life. In fact, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he did not write, or he did not feel the need to give a commentary for the Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva, or a doctrine to, let's say, to the Gaudiya Sampradaya, but he considered Srimad Bhagavatam to be the perfect commentary on the Vedanta Sutra by Srila Vedvyas himself. And um, he says, Ramya Kachita Upasana Vraja Vadhu Vargena Ya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Prema Pumarto Mahan. So he considered Srimad Bhagavatam to be the supreme literature and the ultimate literature, which concludes which consists of all the conclusions of the scriptures, and consists of all the essence, whatever is to be known. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he considered Srimad Bhagavatam to be the supreme. And we say that anyone who has even a little bit of taste towards Hari Katha will naturally have taste towards serving the Lord, towards chanting the holy names of the Lord. It is said Harinam is the incarnation of Krishna, Abhinnatvam Nama Namino, but Hari Katha is an expansion of Srimati Radharani. And we Gaudiyas, we never approach Krishna directly. We always approach Krishna through Radharani. So even to chant the holy names of the Lord consistently and with faith, one needs to hear about the Lord. Because how can you serve, how can you worship, how can you call out the person you don't know about? So to know about that personality, Srimad Bhagavatam is Yat Vaishnavanam Priyam. It is the treasure of all the Vaishnavas' heart. In fact, Sanatana Goswami, when he would go for his Mathura, Govardhan and Vrindavan Parikrama, he would be so immersed in Srimad Bhagavatam, but because it's a voluminous text, he couldn't carry the entire Srimad Bhagavatam with himself when he's walking. But he always wants to be reminded of the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, and he narrates a very beautiful verse. Asadhu sadhu tadai ati nicho kataraka hana munchakata chinmam premna ritkantayo spura. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O giver of saintless to the unsaintly, O uplifter of the very fallen, please don't ever leave me. Please become manifest in my heart and my throat, accompanied by a pure love of Krishna. So even Sanatana Goswami in this verse, he is requesting Srimad Bhagavatam to manifest in his throat, so that whatever he's doing, he can always remember these beautiful verses of Srimad Bhagavatam and keep them with him. And we see there's one more beautiful verse from Padyavali. Vepante duritani moha mahima sammohamalampate Satankam nakharanchinim kalayati Shri Chitragupta kriti Sananda madhuparka sambriti Vidhau veda karoti udapyam Vaikuntham namni teva sate Brahma kim asyat param. So this verse is describing that when one endeavors and when one just thinks of chanting the holy names of the Lord or listening to Srimad Bhagavatam, what happens? So what happens is, in the abode of Yamraj, Chitragupt very usherly and very hesitantly he looks for an eraser. When he's not able to find an eraser, what he does is, with his nails, he starts scratching your name from the list of the sinful personalities, because he's scared if Yamraj, because now you have picked up your bead bag, now you've picked up Srimad Bhagavatam. So just when you think that you will chant the holy names of the Lord, so Chitragupta is very afraid that if Yamraj sees your name in the list of the sinful personalities, he might get fired. So in that hesitancy, he looks for an eraser, or he looks for if he's not able to find a whitener, he starts scratching your name from that list. And then what happens? Brahma, he starts looking for ingredients to prepare Madhupark. In deity worship, especially during Abhishek, when the Lord is invoked and the Lord sits on the Abhishek Patra. They offer them Brahmins, no, they offer him Achman, they offer him Padyam, Argyam, hands, water to wash hands, feet, to rinse them out, and they offer something sweet. So that sweet is made of, primarily it's made of milk, part yogurt, part honey, a little bit of honey. So that's known as Madhu Park. So it's a welcome drink. In Vedic traditions, they used to offer this drink to any personality who would come, or even especially to the Lord. So Brahma, he starts to prepare Madhupark. He looks for the ingredients for Madhupark, because very soon, now that you've started reading Srimad Bhagavatam, and when you've taken up chanting, very soon you will transcend to the spiritual world, and when you'll transcend through Satya Loka. So Brahma has to welcome you. So he looks for the ingredients of Madhupark. This is when you've not even picked up chanting. You've not achieved Namruchi. It's just that you've thought that, okay, I should chant. One person comes to Gauranga Prabhu in Chowpatty, and it was a train station, or it was an airport, and that person runs towards Gauranga Prabhu and he says, "Hey, you're from ISKCON, right? Do you have a Bhagavad Gita?" And then Gauranga Prabhu says, in the middle of nowhere, right now I don't have, but in the temple I have, I can arrange one for you. So he said, yes, I'll go to the temple and I'll take it. So Gauranga Prabhu, inquisitive, he asked, what prompted you to get a copy of Bhagavad Gita? He said, 80 का हो गया हूँ, अब लगता है भक्ति शुरू कर लेनी चाहिए. That means I'm 80 now. Now I think I should start my spiritual practice. So Gauranga Prabhu asks, what do you do? So he says, I'm a CA. So Gauranga Prabhu says, chartered accountant. So he says, no, complete aram, complete rest, nothing. So Gauranga Prabhu then tells him that actually to start spiritual life, the age is 5. Kaumaram acharya prakyat. So from the age of 5 you should have started. So you're very late, but in Hindi they say der aaye durust aaye, that better late than never. So definitely get a Bhagavad Gita copy for yourself and start your spiritual activities. So all of this description in Padyavali which is given, it is not that you've received Yoshta Satvika Vikar, or you've received, you're on the platform of Shuddhanam. It's just that you've endeavored, you've thought that you'll start reading Srimad Bhagavatam or start chanting the holy names of the Lord. So, Vepante Duritani Moha Mahima. So, now after that, all the demigods, what they're doing, they're starting to pluck flowers from the Nandaka forest. Because now, when you'll go through Amravati, when you'll go to the spiritual world, when you'll go through Amravati, all the demigods have to welcome you. So they start collecting flowers so that they can shower flowers onto you when you come. And so he says, "Oh Lord, what more can be said in this in this regard? As in what else do you want? You've just thought that you start chanting the holy names of the Lord, and so by this logic, Brahma is 24/7 continuously making new batches of Madhupark, because every morning, because of Srila Prabhupada's mercy, everyone is constantly chanting, is engaged engaged 24/7 in serving Krishna, and all the brahmacharis, all the grahasthas, all of us who are aspiring to get initiated or who have got initiated have taken vows that we are chanting 16 rounds of Harinam, that we will immerse ourselves, dive deep into the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam. So by this logic, we can imagine what a hasty situation would be there in Yamlok, what hasty situation would there be in Satyalok and Amravati, because these demigods and these great personalities are always ushering and hushing to serve us in that regard. So this is the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam. In fact, there's this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam which says, Dhunoti Shamalam Krishna Shalil Yasya Yathashrat. That when we start hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, what happens is that Krishna enters through the ear holes and he enters the heart. And when he enters the heart, he starts cleaning the heart. And Dhunoti Shamalam Krishna Shalil Yasya Yathashrat. And he makes a residence in our hearts. Even we see in the lives of Yashoda Mai and Nand Maharaj, what happens was one day a great personality, this is mentioned in Gopal Champu, one day a great personality comes and it's birthday of Krishna. So this birthday of Krishna, all these personalities are waiting to greet Krishna, and Nand Maharaj has a beautiful palace, and it has east wing, north wing, south wing, and west wing. And I think in one wing Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Mai lives, in one wing Rohini Maya lives, in one wing Krishna lives, and in one wing Balram lives, and in the middle they've got a courtyard, and then they've got an assembly hall. And then in that assembly hall all the Vrajvasis are coming and they're waiting to greet Krishna. And at that time there's one personality who comes with two beautiful boys, and these beautiful boys, and this personality says that they've come from beyond the oceans, and they live somewhere on the banks of the oceans, shores of the oceans. And they've come here and they've been blessed by Narad Muni, and one's name is Snigdha and one's name is Madhukant. And they are beautiful singers of Srimad Bhagavatam, they're barns, during the time of kings they would have barns to glorify the king. They would wake the king up by glorifying him, and they would always keep the king happy. So they're professional barns, and they're beautiful. They've been blessed by Narad Muni. And then these barns, they start discussing the glory of Krishna. In fact, this is what I heard from Veer Krishna Goswami Maharaj's recitation of Gopal Champu. And these barns, they're describing the glorious birth of Krishna. And they were talking about how Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Mai, even after marriage, for a very long time, they weren't having any children. And all the Vrajvasis, their only desire was to see Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Mai happy. So they were wishing that all of their desires were that Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Mai should have a child. So they were doing a lot of yajnas, a lot of other ritualistic karma kanda activities. Someone would say, if you feed rotis to the black cow, something might happen. If you do this yagya, something might happen. Dashrath did Putra Kameshti yagya. If you do that, something might happen. So all of these personalities in Vraj, all the young, old ladies and men, they were looking for these totkas. They were looking for something, just to receive that goal. And then Yashoda Mai and Maharaj, they thought that Nand Maharaj had a dream, and in that dream Nand Maharaj saw that there was a beautiful boy, bluish blackish complexion, curly hair, beautiful slender waist, broad chest, and it was just beautiful to look at him. And then when Nand Maharaj woke up, he told Yashoda Mai that the boy in my dream, I just don't want a son. I want that boy as my son. And I know for sure that to get that boy which I saw in my dream, it is not possible through these ritualistic karma kanda activities. What we have to do is we have to remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We'll have to serve the Lord. So they decide to do Ekadashi and Dwadashi Vrata for one entire year. And by the end of that year, Yashoda Mai says that, I saw the same boy in my dreams, and I want that boy to become my son. And after a year, they were blessed by this beautiful boy who took birth in their lives, in their home, and that boy looked exactly like the boy they had in their dream. So even in the lives of Yashoda Mai and Maharaj, Udilo Aruna Pura Bhage, if we want the son of Krishna, son like Krishna, to enter our hearts, we have to take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, we have to take shelter of Harinam. So um, this was this was an example in Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai's lives, that Srimad Bhagavatam for 1.1.2 or 1.1.3, it says Nigama kalpa taror galitam phalam sukhamukhad amrita dravya samyutam bibata bhagavatam rasam alayam muhurapi rasika bhuvi bhuvaka, that one has to become a drunkard. Bibata bhagavatam rasam alayam, and one has to become a drunkard and just drink the juice of this fruit, and then this fruit is described that this fruit doesn't have a seed and this fruit doesn't have a covering. So this is just complete pulp, just sheer pulp and juice. And what you have to do is you have to keep drinking it till you faint of intoxication. And when you wake up, again just drink it. We know in Bhagavatam, where cosmology comes, there are giant fruits in the Jambudvip, and there are giant trees, and then there are giant fruits, and when they fall on the ground, there are streams of juices which are flowing. So that is good, but the real stream of juice is flowing on this earth by through the lips of Vyasdev, through the lips of Shukdev Goswami, and that juice, the juice name is, the brand is Srimad Bhagavatam by Sri Vyasdev, translated by Srila Prabhupada. So we should make sure that we enrich our lives by taking shelter of Srimati Radharani, which is non-different from Srimad Bhagavatam, from Harikatha. So Nigama kalpa taror kalitam phalam sukhamukhad amrita dravya samyutam bivata bhagavatam rasamale muhurapi rasika bhuvi bhuvaka. And then this Srimad Bhagavatam is devoid of all karmakanda activities, because what's that verse? How does it start? 1.1.2. Dharma projita kaitavotra parmo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavam adra vastu shrividam tapotrayan mulanam Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam amalam prema pumart kimba paray ishvare sadhyo ridya varudhyate stu kritibi shushruttibhi tatshanat. That this Srimad Bhagavatam, it's devoid of all karmakandic activities, all activities which are there to allure people of other modes. Someone might get attached to the description of the heavenly planets. Someone might get attached to getting these desires, materialistic desires, fulfilled. But Srimad Bhagavatam is Nigama Kalpataror, and it is devoid of all karmakandic activities and all these karmakandic personality identifications and processes. So it is for the completely surrendered personalities who earnestly, who seriously want to take the shelter of Krishna and Krishna alone. So as far as the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is, and the complete glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam, we see that it is hinted even in Gopi Geet, when gopis are talking about Krishna, in separation of Krishna. When Krishna disappeared from the Ras Leela, at that time these gopis are singing Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavi Piriditam Kalmashapakam Shravana Mangalam. So I wouldn't say the entire verse because I don't know the entire verse, but what they're saying is Tava Kathamritam. And then at that time there are two camps of gopis. There's the camp of Chandravali and there are the camps of Radharani. Although the gopis are singing the same verse and they're singing the same in the same melody, in the same Sanskrit, but they have their different consciousness and they have their different moods. So the gopis, Chandravali side, they are thinking that Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavi Bhiriditam Kalmashapakam. That, O Krishna, when we hear your pastimes, our materialistic lives, our attachment towards our household lives, they completely dry, they burn, they finish, Tapta Jivanam, and Kavi Bhiriditam Kalmashapakam. And then the personalities who sing your glories and who go on spreading your glories, they are glorious because they perfect people's lives. But the camp of Radharani, in complete separation, Radharani says, "Oh Krishna, tava katham ridam." After listening to your Hari Katha, after listening about you, we've died. Our desires, and we've just lost everything in our lives. And now, in the middle of the night, it seems as if we've lost you as well. And Tava Katha Mridam, that we've died, and fire to that person. And we criticize that person who came, Bhuridajana, that the personality who first came and gave us your Harikatha, who came and sung your glories into our ears. We fire onto that person, because that person ended all our materialistic aspirations. That person ended all the happiness in our lives. Because if had it been, if only if we would have not known about you, we would have been completely perfectly situated in our lives and go on with our married lives and go on with our household lives. But oh Krishna, after we've heard your Venu, after we've heard your glories, all our materialistic lives, all the happiness in our lives have gone away. And you're such a trickster that when in the middle of the night we've come here, you've bereft us of your association. So the same verse, but the moods are different. So these gopis are talking about the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam in their own ways. And we have to make sure that, as you know, there's nothing magnanimous, so there's nothing out of the blue we have to do to achieve that goal. Once Sri Radha Govindas Goswami Maharaj, he was narrating that there was a farmer, and because of working in the fields, he got a sunstroke and he fainted. And then he went to the doctor, the local doctor, and he went to the doctor and said that, I fainted in the fields while working, so give me some medication. And the doctor said, okay, the medication is just squeeze some lemon, some lime, and just take some lime juice, because it's heat stroke. It's just because of the excessive heat. So this personality starts cursing this doctor, and he says, because he's a local, he's a villager, so he says that, I've come all the way from my house in the middle of my working hours to you, doctor, and all what you've prescribed is some lemon juice. This I could have done at my home as well. Give me some medication, some proper injection. Lagna chahiye ki doctor ke paas aaya hu. It should feel like I've come to the doctor. So the doctor was perplexed. He said, no, all you need is lime juice. And then this person started arguing with the doctor. So what the doctor did, he squeezed some lime in water, and then he put that lime juice in the syringe, and then he put that syringe in, and he gave him an injection, and then he said, yeah, now it feels like I've come to the doctor. So he describes like that, because it seems as if there's something a lot. To attain the position of Brahma, we have to follow Grahastha ashram, and complete Vanprastha ashram for 1000 years without any mistakes. And if you want the position of gopis or manjaris, or if you want to receive our eternal position in the spiritual world, there's something greater than that what we have to do. Some meditations, some tapasya, something huge we have to do. But actually, all you have to do is you just have to take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. We just have to take shelter of Harinam. So it's not a syringe we need, but it's just simple lime juice of beautiful juice, Nigama Kalpa Taror Galitam Phalam, which we can relish every day, and it's very sweet. Srimad Bhagavatam. It talks about the beautiful personality, the beautiful form of Krishna. Vam bahu krita vama kapolo val krita bror adharar pita venu komalanguli bhir ashrita margam gopyai rajati yatra mukunda. So it talks about the beautiful way and charismatic form of Krishna. When Krishna enters the forest, Barhapidam Natavaravapahu Karnayo Karnikaram Bibhratvasa Kanakakapisham Vaijayanti Chamalam Ranthan Venu Adhar Sudhaya Purnayan Gopa Vrindaye Vrindaranyam Swapadaramanam Pravishat Gita Kirti. It talks about the beautiful golden yellowish complexioned colored dhoti which Krishna wears. Barhapiram Natavara Vapahu. And just like even when we are dancing during Kirtan, we tuck our dhoti up um, so that we don't trip over. So Krishna, he tucks his dhoti. Barhapiram Natavara Vapu, and it looks like, and he's dancing. Some says that he dances just like how a groom is about to get married. He dances for one last time in happiness. So he's dancing. So Krishna dances like that. So Barhapiram Natavara Vapahu Karnayo Karnikaram. And Barhapiram, there's a crown full of peacock feathers. So full style when he's entering, he's it's like a ramp walk for Krishna. So Barhapiram Natavara Vapahu Karnayo Karnikaram Bibhrat Vasa Kanaka Kapisham Vaijayantim Chamalam. And then there's a Karnika flower. Some commentators say that there are two Karnika flowers on the ears of Krishna, which just like a carpenter when he's sketching, he puts the pencil back on his ear. So Krishna, he puts Karnika flowers. Some commentators say it's one Karnika flower, but Krishna is so fidgety that he, sometimes it's on the left ear, sometimes it's on the right ear, sometimes it's on the left ear again. So there's one Karnika flower, but it keeps on moving, so it seems as if there are two. So Karnayo Karnikaram Bibhrat Vasa Kanaka Kapisha Vaijayanti Chamalam. And mala made of Mandar, Kadam, Parijat, Kamal and Tulsi. These 5 flowers. Vaijayanti Chamalam. Forest flowers, wild flowers. Randhran Venu Adhara Sudhaya Purnayan Gopa Vrinda. Gopis, they are always very much concerned and they're very much jealous, envious in a transcendental way with this flute. They are very jealous of this flute because this flute is so arrogant that it makes Krishna massage itself. Krishna is constantly massaging the body of this flute. And even after receiving so much nectar, the nectar which the nectar of the nectarian lips of Krishna, which is yearned by all these gopis, this flute is receiving all that nectar. And even after receiving this nectar, it's still hollow. And so the gopis, in fact, at one point in time, Radharani even steals this flute away, and she takes his flute away, and Krishna is looking for his flute everywhere. And at that time, Radharani keeps it behind her back and secretly passes on to the other gopis. And then Krishna is looking for the flute, and then Krishna calls for Madhumangal, and he says, "Oh Madhumangal, you're a perfect Brahmana. Do some astrological predictions and see where the flute is." And then Madhumangal, on the strength of his Brahmanical thread, he invokes some mantras, he sits in meditation, and he says, "Oh Krishna, in my meditation I see that your flute has been stolen by Srimati Radharani." And then Krishna goes to Srimati Radharani. By that time, Radharani has handed over the flute to Lalita Sakhi. So so Krishna, he's scanning Srimati Radharani, he's looking for his flute, and in that he's getting great joy. But Radharani doesn't have his flute. And then Krishna is almost drawn to, he's really in anxiety. Where is my flute? How am I going to attract the gopis tonight? How will I call them out? So Krishna is looking for his flute. And in seclusion, Srimati Radharani, she's being taught. She's learning how to play this flute, and Lalita Sakhi is teaching her how to play this flute. Although she is Gandharvika, but still, just to enhance the mood of this pastime, that she's learning how to play this flute of Krishna. And later on, and Krishna obviously gets his flute back. But so Randhran Venu Adhara Sudhaya Purnayan Gopa Vrindai Vrinda Ranyam Swapada Ramanam Pravishat Gita Kirti. So the gopis are describing in this description of the beauty of Krishna that's how the son of Nanda, the prince of Vrindavan, of Nandgaon, he enters the forest of Vrindavan, conquering our hearts. So just like Krishna, and Vama Bahukrita Vama Kapolo Valkrita Bror Adhararpita Venu. So on the left, he's holding the flute like this, Vama Bahu, and on he's resting his cheek, because when he's playing like this, he on his shoulder, Vama Bahukrit Vama Kapolo Valkrita Bror Adhararpita Venu. And when he's playing his flute, the moving become stunned, and the non-moving start moving. So Yamuna, it slows and it stops, because the Yamuna wants to relish Krishna's flute. So the cows, in their love for Krishna, they are giving milk out without being milked, and the calves run. But then when they listen to Krishna through their cup-like ears, the milk is coming out from the udders of the cows, but the calves forget to drink. So the milk is just being completely, it's coming out from their udders, but the calves are busy listening to Krishna's glorious flute and just look at Krishna through their eyes. And Yamuna has stopped, and the rocks, Giriraj, in fact, when Krishna was lifting Giriraj, that was one statement Madhumangal said, that don't play your flute, because the rocks melt when you play the flute. So if this hill melts, then we all will be crushed under this hill, so don't do that. So the rocks melt, and the fruits and the trees, they're not moving, but they start swinging, listening to the beautiful melody and beautiful tune of this flute. And Krishna, with his eyebrows, he's hinting to his friends that, look, Yamuna, look at the rocks, look at these cows, look at the deers, look at the peacocks, look at the cows, look at the calves. So Krishna, he's hinting with his eyebrows that look at that direction, look on that, look towards there, look towards there. So Valkrita Bror Adhararpita Venu. Now that when he has offered his lips to the flute to serve, and he has offered his hands to massage the flute, Adhararpita Venu Komal Anguli Bhir Ashrita Margam. And now he's showing the way to the melody through his hands. Ashrita Margam Kope Rajyati Yatra Mukunda. And that's how Krishna enters the forest. So these descriptions are given of this of beautiful personality of Krishna. How can we fall in love with Krishna without taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam? How can we fall in love with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu if we don't know who he is? So just like in a relationship, even in a mundane relationship, a girlfriend and a boyfriend, they go out for a date. What do? They simply they don't get married straight away. There's a courtship period where they try to know each other. What do you like? What's your? In fact, when Ram and Sita were getting married, Dashrath Maharaj's ancestry and his lineage and Janak Maharaj's lineage, they were sung in great length by the Bans. So even in Srimad Bhagavatam, we see in the first few cantos, where just before the pastimes of Krishna start, the great ancestry of Yaduvamsha is being described, and then Parikshit Maharaj says, Katitam Vistaram. You've spoken in great detail about the ancestors. Now let me listen about Krishna. So we see that how can you fall in love with someone in that relationship? The boy wants to know the girl wants to know the boy. So even to fall in love with someone on a material plane, we need to know about that person. So similarly, to fall in love with Krishna, to fall in love with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we need to take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, of Chaitanya Bhagavat, of Chaitanya Charitamrita, of these religious texts which will actually help us understand the glory of Krishna, understand the beauty of Krishna, the pastimes of Krishna, the beautiful description of Vrindavan. So I think it's time we should stop here with this meditation that Harinam is beautiful, but Srimad Bhagavatam is also very beautiful. So we should take shelter, and I see that all these Vaishnavas assembled here, they have so much taste in Srimad Bhagavatam that although Updeshamrit, I think NOI Nectar of Instruction 5, verse 5 of verse 6 talks about how someone is supposed to listen to Srimad Bhagavatam or listen to Harikatha from the lips of someone who has no envy and who doesn't have the habit of criticizing anyone. So someone who's a Mahabhagavat, that it talks about how one is supposed to respect someone depending on their level of bhakti. So someone who's taken initiation is supposed to and is engaged in deity worship is supposed to be bowed. You're supposed to bow down in front of him and take and surrender. Someone who has just started their Krishna consciousness, you are supposed to mentally offer your obeisances. And someone who's on an Uttam Adhikari platform, you're supposed to listen to Hari Katha from their lips. So it is mentioned like that. But this is the mercy of you Vaishnavas, that you're so glorious that you're listening from a person like me who's an Uttama Kanishta. So I'm the perfect Kanishta, and you are so glorious that you're listening from the desert-like tongue, desert-like lips of me today, and blessing me that I'm also able to. Otherwise, I don't really open this book very often, but today this book has opened in front of me, and I'm able to say something in glory of Srimad Bhagavatam, in glory of Srimati Radharani Krishna. Please bless me that I'm able to walk my talk and actually able to develop some taste towards listening towards reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, know more about Krishna, and I develop that hunger, develop that mentality of a drunkard who constantly wants to relish this juice of Srimad Bhagavatam. With this aspiration and this prayer, I bow down at the lotus feet of all the Vaishnavas and seek blessings, genuine blessings. Please bless me. Vanshakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. It's time. Are there any questions, comments, feedback, or suggestion? You always have a question, Mataji. Updeshamrit talks about Datati pratiknihati guhyam akhyati prachati bhungte bhojate chaiva shad vidhim priti lakshanam. So it talks about 6 ways one can have dealings with Vaishnavas. Dadati pratiknihati guhyam, by giving gifts, receiving gifts, by confiding in them, and by being confided by them. Dadati pratik nihati guhyam akhyati prachati bhungte bhojayate chaiva shad vidhir priti lakshanam. And by having prasadam together, by cooking for them, by so having these relationships. As in, imagine if I was to get a wife for myself, if you were to get a husband for yourself, would you just straight away marry that person? Well, you would spend some time with them, right? So when you want to date Krishna, it's okay. When you want to date someone, you know the guy knows you, that's enough. But when you have to get married, it's not just the people. It's not just the man and the woman. It's the families get married. One time, Krishna comes to Yashoda Mai and says that, Balram teases me. And Balram teases me that Yashoda is white, Nand Maharaj is fair, I am black. How is this? In the fruit or in the tree of banana, how is this mango coming? So he's teasing me like that. So what to do? So Krishna is crying like that, and he cries. So Ganga like streams mixed with Yamuna, black coal like Yamuna, and invisible Saraswati of Krishna's emotions. All they mix in the belly button of Krishna, and that's where the Triveni Sangam is. So with this Triveni Sangam, he goes to Yashoda Mai and he says that Balram teases me, and he teases me in front of all my friends. You've sent Balram as an eyelid, and he's supposed to protect me as an eyelid, but I need a protection layer from this eyelid. So he teases me that I'm the only one who's dark complexion in my family. So Yashoda Mai says, okay, now you've come with the problems, you also must know a solution. So Krishna says that, get me married. And Krishna's like 3 or 4 at max. So get me married. And Yashoda Mai is a bit perplexed. She says, and how would getting you married solve this problem? So Krishna says that, get me married to a very fair complexioned girl. So that next time when Balram teases me, I can tell him that, so what if I'm dark? I have a fair complexioned wife with me. You are white, what have you done? Where's your wife? Where's your girlfriend? You don't have anyone. So Yashoda Mai starts laughing, and then she says, okay, if you've come out with this solution, then you must have some suggestions also whom you should get married to. So Krishna says, our Vedic culture, it's not just the boy and the girl who come together, It's like 2 families which come together. So just because I see that you're such good friends with Kirtida, and Nanda Maharaj has such good relationships with Vrishbhanu Maharaj. So just because of that point, I think Vrishbhanu Nandini Srimati Radharani would be a very ideal match for me. So when a man and a woman come together, it's not just them in a relationship. It's the family which comes together. So with this consciousness that all the Vaishnavas are actually the family of Krishna. It's the family of Krishna we also have to have good relationship with. If you go to a boy and you say, I love you and let's get married, and the boy says that, okay, I have one mother in my house, I have one unmarried sister, I have one younger brother whom you also have to have cordial relationship with. So if we go with this consciousness that if we want to get married to Krishna, although our mood is Parakiya, but even if we have to have a relationship with Krishna, we have to have a relationship with all the family members of Krishna as well. So all the Vaishnavas are like the family members of Krishna. So if we think about that in that way, then this idea of taking Vaishnava association cheaply would reduce to a significant level, and we would be able to appreciate the association of and the congregation of Vaishnavas, because we realize that they are the family members and they are actually who are nourishing us in our spiritual lives. If you came to the temple, how did you come into Krishna consciousness? Imagine there was no one, exactly, Vaishnavas, right? If there would have been no one, you would have just seen the deities, you would have seen, okay, beautiful marble deities, beautifully dressed, and you would have walked out of the temple. There are people who come for 15 years to the temple, but they don't associate with sadhus, with Vaishnavas. They come and then they leave. For 15 years, no transformation happened. So, by this, and dadati pratigniyati, as I said, that's a Shastric reference I know for having relationships. So, that's it. Srila Radhanath Maharaj, Yoguru Maharaj, he makes a beautiful point, and that's something which really is there, which I really keep in my heart. Maharaj, in one of his lectures, he said that rarely you will find someone who has found a higher philosophy than Krishna consciousness elsewhere. You will very rarely see that someone has left Krishna consciousness because they have found something higher in philosophical aspects than Krishna consciousness. What can be more beautiful than the beautiful form of Krishna? What can be more beautiful than the beautiful pastimes of Krishna? That the Supreme Creator is learning how to walk in the courtyard of Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Mai. What could be more beautiful than that? But you might find very often people leaving Krishna consciousness because they thought that they were not being taken care of, they were not being loved enough, they were not being, they were not having those deeper relationships that are guhyam akhyati prachati, those intimate relationships with Vaishnavas. So very often you'll find people leaving Krishna consciousness because they thought that they weren't being loved enough. So that's something Maharaj talks about devotee care, which really hit me. Um, so having devotee relationships is very important, and when you yourself become a devotee, caring for other devotees is also very important. By that, not only will you dive deeper into your love for Krishna, but you'll also have people to hold you on. If you, let's say, if you go astray and you've confided in people who are devotees, if you don't feel like chanting, if you don't feel like taking shelter of Krishna, you've confided into people, and these people can help you out. These people can engage you into services. These people can, discuss your problems. They can help you out. You are a family. We are endangered species. It's Kali Yuga, where we devotees are endangered species. So we have to preserve ourselves by having beautiful, good, strong devotee relationships. Thank you so much. Prabhu, you always have a question. Do you have a question? Okay, do you have a question, Prabhu? We should end here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Sri Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. His grace Sankalp Ram Prabhu ki. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Since we have 2 minutes, there's a very wonderful pastime about devotee taking shelter of devotees. I'll just narrate it in 2 seconds. So once Ramanujacharya, he goes to a village and he says that all the villagers over there are very inclined towards materialistic activities. None of them have any taste for Harikatha. Ramanujacharya, he organized for a Bhagavatam recitation for Harikatha, but no one showed up. So Ramanujacharya's secretary, Dashrati, he says that, this village, this is hopeless. We should go to the next village and preach because no one's interested in spiritual activities here. So Ramanujacharya says, okay, we'll go, but figure out, let's see, is there there must be a common well or a common, bowery or a water body through which all these people, the villagers, would draw water from. So they said yes. So Ramanujacharya asked Dashrati that you just dip your feet in that water. And Dashrati was confused. How is this related to preaching? She said, don't ask questions, just dip your feet into the water and come back. So Dashrati did that. Next day, when Bhagavad Katha was organized, it was jam-packed. And all the disciples of Ramanujacharya, they asked Ramanujacharya, how did this happen? So they said that Bhakta Pad Dhuli Ar Bhakta Pad Jal Bhakta Bhukta Avashesh Teen Mahabal. Because they came in contact of a devotee by, a devotee's remnants, a devotee's dust from a devotee's lotus feet and water which has washed the lotus feet of devotees are 3 Mahabal, potent entities to give us Krishna Prem, to give us taste for Harinam and Harikatha. So because Dashrati dipped his feet in the water, so the water became his Charnamrit. And now that water, when it was consumed by the villagers, their consciousness was immediately purified and all of them got attracted to Harikatha. So we should try to steal whatever mercy we can, however we can, with having relationships with devotees, and then we can have some hope that Krishna will accept us. There was a devotee, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he would give devotees fruits and food, and then he would wait for the devotee to eat that food away, and then when they would throw that food, he would steal that fruit, or he would steal whatever the remnants, the peel or the seed. So once this devotee gave someone, and he's a Brahmana, and he gives mango to a devotee, but he's a Shudra. I think he's Charu Thakur. So he gives this mango to this Vaishnava, and he's waiting that this Vaishnava, when he finishes it, he's waiting outside his house. When this Vaishnava finishes having it, and he throws that peel away, and this Vaishnava goes to the dustbin, takes the peel out, and starts eating that peel. Huh? Kalidas. That's the name of this devotee. Later on, when he sees Mahaprabhu, when he enters Jagannath temple, he washes his feet before going to the temple. So, and Mahaprabhu had given this strict instruction: if someone tries to take that water, my Charnamrit, I will leave Puri the same day. So no one ever dared to take Mahaprabhu's Charnamrit. But Kalidas, he goes, and when Mahaprabhu is washing his feet, the devotee is pouring water, and Mahaprabhu's feet is being washed. He takes that Charnamrit and he drinks it. Thrice he does this, and Mahaprabhu and all the Vaishnavas are coming to stop him. Mahaprabhu says, no, let him. And then after 3 times, he becomes greedy and he starts taking more. And Mahaprabhu says, that is enough. So Krishna is giving mercy to someone who was desperate to get mercy of the Vaishnavas. Others weren't allowed, but Kalidas was allowed because he was eager to get mercy of devotees. So, thank you so much. Hopefully I will also get his mercy if you pray. ये तो नहीं, अच्छा 100 कम ना। भाई इतनी confidence से मत बोल यार।